Where am I?
Oh, you are precisely where you need to be. Now tell me, where are the locations of Clone Force 99?
Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Seriously, where am I?
Little one, you are not in any immediate danger.
No.
But you will be. If you don't comply.
Comply? Comply? What are you on about? I'm a cameraman.
Yes. A simple man making his way through the galaxy. I've heard it before. I'm gonna make it clear. Give me the locations of Clone Force 99 and I'll spare your life.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. I don't know where they are. Please, you have to believe me. Just let me out of here.
You still haven't figured it out yet, have you? I could unshackle you right now. And in 30 seconds, you'd be right here in front of me. Escape's just not an option for you, my friend. Why don't you just wait for your little friends to come back and take you home? Yeah, it seems like you're just not ready to talk. Maybe 2 months in solitary might wet your whistle.
No, please.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Blore on Mandalore. I'm your host, Jeremy Blore, and I am so keen to delve into this next episode of Bad Batch. We have episode 5, The Return. This is only one episode this week. Next week's going to be a DOS episode. Basically, it's just going to be a two-parter chucked into 1 week. I actually got it wrong. I got it wrong when I was explaining how many episodes there were going to be. I said 13. There's actually going to be 16, which is insane. Insane. Because the pace that they've been going lately... Poor. Just to start off with it, that episode was phenomenal. I watched it twice, straight away, back to back. I had to. It was personally, my favorite ever Bad Batch episode. I'm going to start it off with that. And second of all, what am I talking about? I need to put out some love. I have been getting so into the whole understanding how to YouTube, understanding how to kind of chuck all this stuff on any site, whether that is Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, or anything. I'm learning with all of that. And to see the interactions that I'm getting with so many different people, it's just... It blows my mind. I actually, when you're seeing this now, the reel already would have been out and you already would have seen it. But Beyond the Dune Sea actually just posted a video. It was their breakdown of the previous episode, just like what I was doing. As you know, they are huge inspirations on the show. And they actually made a little segment towards the end. I sent a little fan question in. I sent a little fan question in for their time, and they were just like, look, let's take a moment to appreciate this channel. And when I say it's made my year, it's hard to kind of top it. It's actually hard to top it. I have been smiling ear to ear ever since I saw it. I screen recorded it and I watched it non-stop every day. It motivated me to post more things. It motivated me to make more intro work. I've been doing... Now, the one that you see today has a lot of work into it. As I said in the very first episode, if you've seen it, if you're picking up from just now, that's fine. I'll catch you up. Basically, what I wanted to do with this show was to understand how to edit, understand how to kind of put myself out there in a virtual space, see where everything takes me, and just learn as much as I possibly can. And I'm doing it. And this intro was nothing but learning. It was a lot of fun to film. It was a lot of fun to film as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm kind of thinking about doing a continuation of the same kind of theme. Obviously, if you haven't picked it up already, that's the cameraman that was in the previous episode's intro that was running away. And you always think, but there were blaster fire towards the end. Yeah, intentional. Because in Star Wars, no one's really dead unless you see them die. That's why I blacked out the screen. I'm a big thinker. I'm a big brain boy. Anyways, if you want that, if you kind of want me to continue down that path of, I love sketch comedy. I love it. So just let me know. If not, I'm just going to keep on making heaps of random ones, depending on whatever episode came, maybe the week before that, or maybe even I could film the intro after the episodes come out and I can work it through with that. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. On top of that, the comment sections of everything has been wild. I've had so many of my friends and family responding, but also some new faces. New faces that I believe came from beyond the Dune Sea. They've got such a cult following. They are incredible. You need to watch them. And when you watch them, you'll realize like, oh, that's why they're killing in the game. But I see a lot of those guys there. I see some faces. Mortis just commented on my reel before, being like, game recognizes game. Yeah, well, dude, you are the GOAT as well. I love Mortis. I love Star Wars Siths. Like, I don't think you realize how much I'm fangirling here every time I look at my comment section and I see either one of you guys or even just random people. You guys make my day. You make my day. Well, let's get started. Episode rating for today. As I said, this is my favorite episode of Bad Batch to date. Yes, I'm a recency bias guy. Yes, I struggle with not rating everything in the high 8s to 10. I get it. And I'm probably going to get ridiculed for this, I should say. Let me consult my notes, because I keep on looking at it for some reason. 9.8 out of 10. 9.8 out of 10. I couldn't give it anything lower. Not only do we get the most incredible transitions, the most beautiful animation, something that you would struggle to see in live action with incredible cameras. It's just, these animating studios have just ramped it up. I hope it's really not the end of this style. I'll delve into it, but I really hope it's not the end of this style. I am loving it. I hope we see more. I mean, obviously, we're going to get Tales of the Jedi. That's going to be in the same style, same studios, but it's just beautiful. I remember there was that one scene in the episode where Hunter's just fallen down the little worm track, and worm, as like I should probably say verm. I don't really know. Could be a little more German. It's WYRM. I only know this because I played this game called Ark Survival Evolved, Ark Survival Ascended as well now, and it is the Van Worm, but Verm. Either way. So you get the Verm, I'm going to say worm. What am I doing? The worm going through there, and he's made all of these tunnels under the ground. Hunter's fallen through, and then you just see all of the snowflakes kind of trickling down. Oh, when I say that is like, you could just pause that right there, take a screenshot, and just background it instantly. That's an instant background. Now, episode ranking. If this is your first time watching the show, I have a tier system that I'm going to, in the end of the season, I will be ranking everything on a board. It's in S tier for like super duper sexy. That was incredible. One of those ones have to have a wow factor for me. Like, you can have an incredible episode, and it's even though it's an incredible episode, it has to stick at A tier, because, which is one below, which is A tier is incredible. That's like amazing watching, but it's just not that wow. Then it goes to B, C, and D. Now, if you know me, if you know anything about this channel, you're going to realize I'm not a person to put anything below B. So you really, really have to do such a bad job to get a C or a D. Like a really bad job. If I really don't like it, it's going down. But this episode, I gave it an S tier. It's just something about the animation filled with Crosshair and the ice vulture just constantly intertwining with the story to show progress and change. I was mesmerized the whole episode. Mesmerized. It went like that. It was what, like a 26-minute? Maybe 27? Something like that. 27-minute episode, and I was just like, oh my God, can I get more? I need more. I need more. I need more. I wish every week it was a 2-episode drop, because I wanted to watch that over and over and over. And I can promise you, when I finish this, I'm probably going to go watch it again. Like, incredible. Anyways, going to do a little overview of the episode before I go into kind of deep diving. Basically, what happened at the start of the episode is tailing right off of the end of the previous. Omega is on the ship, and she wakes up and she walks through. They realize they are on Pabu. What? As they're going through Pabu, they realize, hey, look, we're calm. Crosshair's in there. Crosshair's not really too calm. They go through and they see Echo. Echo comes back, not followed by Rex. Rex is off on a high important mission. He's on high intensity, I should say. High intensity mission. He is out of the count. You can't bring him in every single time. Echo is very much like, look, he's a cool character, but he's a side dude. Even in the batch, he's side. I love him. I don't care about him that much. Like, he's a cool character, but there's cooler, especially in the batch. I get that he's a reg that then got all of the bionic attachments, and he went through so much, and sad, incredible story. So Echo came back. The batch meet up. Tensions rise. They realize, hey, look, we've got Nala Se's tablet. Nala Se is kind of like providing Omega with everything that she needs to leave the Empire and to make sure she's gone, but Omega and the batch will constantly come back for their brothers and sister. They make their way to Barton 4, I believe it is. I put it on my notes. Barton 4, which is the ice planet that we saw Crosshair and Mayday on in the previous season, where Crosshair defected from the Empire. The batch need to find all the codes, and they rewrite the power from the station to the tablet to make sure that they can get all the information, and then boom, they'll get out of there and go. They went through some danger. Anyways, let's dive into it. Personally, I was ready for the kind of once a week adventure episode that this really was. I didn't expect much more. I don't think that this show can bring too much into the theory when it's the last season. They need to end everything. And this definitely feels like, hey, look, this is not a Mando adventure. Mando mega fan. Yeah. Mando mega fan. Tattoos. I'll go into that another day. But like the Mando ones are kind of like what I said before. You need Grogu needs to have a certain milk because he's struggling to make his skin green. And then they're like, gotta quickly go to this planet, and then we'll come back and now we'll take him. It's not that. It's very important to be able to get the information off it. They're not going to always remember the details. What I thought they would have done was they would have gotten all of the information off of the previous ship that they flew to meet the Marauder on that deserted planet at the end of the previous episode. Is that kind of stupid that they didn't do it? I don't know. I think they just don't have access to that kind of information. Or maybe they were just too caught up in the moment. Feels a bit stupid. Because, that literally... Oh, you know what? I'm a silly duffer. That was from another ship. I was meaning when they went and dropped onto the planet, you would think that they would download all the information off of that. But I guess the whole ship was fried. So, look, they could have done it. They didn't do it. It kind of boosts the story. It continues on. There are some things where you're like, hey, look, you could just add a little more action, a little less, what are we going to do here? But, again, this episode was phenomenal. Let's dive into it. All right. Put that there. Whoopish. I'm slowly getting away from the notes, by the way. I actually, that just then was the very first time where I didn't focus on anything. It probably would have felt like it's all over the shop. And it probably would have felt like I didn't really know what I was talking about. But it was just because I'm nervous in front of the camera. Stop, guys. Stop. Don't look at me like that. No, I'm making some progress. However, I did actually write a lot of stuff down here that I thought was really important. Okay. Episode 5, The Return. Why do they call it The Return? Now, I've got two different things on this. Obviously, number one is the return of the batch all together, because when Echo comes, obviously, RIP Tech. Take a moment for Tech. But really, the batch is together. You've got Echo coming back, Omega's back, Crosshair's back, everyone but Tech. Sad, but true. They've returned. They're in their full power again. Maybe 90% because Tech isn't there for those little crucial parts. Just like when they were saying breaking down the Imperial data pad and they don't have Tech. So they had to go onto this planet. I really like that they're keeping him dead. I hope. So anyways, we open up on a warm springtime music. You see Omega's calm. She's happy. It's got a close-up of her with her little doll. Now, in the previous couple of episodes, she made a doll out of straw to be like, oh, this is what it's like on the Marauder. It's a doll, Omega, but she's also a kid. She's older than all of the batch, but she's a kid. I get it. But it's the whole warm, peaceful music. The sun's coming in. You go, you know what? These guys, they might be settling down. And then she goes downstairs and she sees Hunter, Wrecker, super happy to see her. All the guys on the island have been giving them fruits. They're being taken care of. They've got a good life that they could potentially have here. But as we've seen from the previous couple episodes, it's just not going to happen. Sadly, it's not going to happen. As much as we want them to settle down and relax and just be free of this war, if anyone's more deserving of it, or if anyone's deserving of it, sorry, it's the Batch. That, like, they've worked too hard for too long to be able to just go back and die in war. And we kind of see the contrast with that when it goes down to Crosshair. Even on the most peaceful planet, Crosshair is down training with AZ. AZ is the little robot that they got on Camino when Camino was being destroyed in season 1. AZ was the one that kind of helped them understand how to remove the inhibitor chips from their mind, and helped do it for him. He was basically one of the doctors on Camino. So, anyways, I did like when, before they went down to Crosshair though, Hunter made a little comment to Omega saying that, don't worry about Crosshair. He's still adjusting. Now, you can kind of see on his face, it's not just Crosshair who's adjusting. Hunter's really got to adjust to this. His biggest problem has now been living on his ship with him. Yes, they would have been best friends before, brothers. But he turned to the Empire. He's not as trusting. And you see the distrust on his face as he kind of turns away and Omega turns her back. He doesn't want her to see it, but it's just not the same. At least for Hunter, it's just not the same. When Crosshair's down at the range, I really like that they're ramping up his hand problems. Now, you can add in, we saw it in there before and we saw that he was struggling, but this is big for him. He's losing his identity. Crosshair's biggest thing that makes him special is his ability to shoot things with 100% accuracy 100% of the time. Now with his hand tremors, he's not able to make anywhere near that. AZ mentioned that he had 53% on his accuracy. Now, you take a moment and you go, look, Crosshair, you're not the same guy. Is it because of his accelerating genes and his aging? They did make the batch to be specially bred for specific requirements. Is their DNA just not strong enough to last as long as maybe a Reg, like Rex? Because we saw Rex on the Battle of Endor. Maybe they're just not able to do that. But Omega makes a little comment saying that AZ could easily fix, maybe not even easily, but he could give it a check. Check out what's going on with his hand. And instantly shut down. Now, Crosshair is his character this past season and previous season. One of my favorites. This episode turned, I'm a big Wrecker guy, but really, his arc is just turning me into a Crosshair lover. I'm loving everything that's going on there. But I see a lot of similarities between Crosshair and the stoic man, kind of similar to my father. You don't allow help from anyone else. You can do it yourself. I've seen very similar traits to someone like my father who's so strong and so capable that when something like that happens and something bad happens, he's not going to be weak and ask for help. No, he's got to deal with this himself. But I think it might be to his detriment, because we see throughout the episode it's getting even worse. When he was there on Barton 4, and he was just like, oof, and he tried to clench his fist to stop it. Mental. It's not getting there. I'd like to make a little apology. I've said for the previous couple of episodes that the lurker that Omega had as a friend is called Badger. Badger. Like the honey badger. I'm so wrong. It's Batcher. It's Batcher. I saw that because I put on subtitles on the TV and it says Batcher. That's pretty fucking sick. That the Bad Batch has Batcher. I kind of like it even more. Oh, actually, speaking of Wrecker, you also see when he's going into when they're panning down to Crosshair on the range, Wrecker's 10 times more trusting. Wrecker's like, hey, look, if Omega trusts, then I will. That's the best impression you've ever heard. And if you talk to anyone else about how good that impression was, I'll kill you, because that means they're going to watch it and they're going to try to copy me. And copyright is a real thing. I don't appreciate that. So just keep it to yourself, but admit that it's the best thing you've ever heard. Anyways, so the return of Echo. Really, really cool. I love that they're kind of like so early on allowing for everyone to see the batch at what is their full potential outside of tech. I'm not going to continue doing that. But we're seeing the batch at full potential at such an early stage. Episode 5. And the batch is fully reunited. Maybe Echo's not going to stay for too long, but they're fully reunited. They stand together. They're super strong. And we've still got another 11 more episodes. Like, what? It's shaping out to be one of the best series that Disney's ever put out. By far as well. One thing I noticed when Echo started talking to Crosshair, and I mean, Crosshair initiated the conversation, but there doesn't seem to be any animosity between the two. Now, obviously, Echo's not going to be like, oh, hey, brother. Like, we're friends now. But he's kind of like, if you got intel, you got intel. You know, you're obviously not with the batch if you're going to be a bad guy. Because he was struggling so hard to be the good guy before. And he's not struggling now. He's a good dude. Omega came back with him, and because of his help, Omega survived. He's a good guy. And I like that Echo kind of trusts him. Doesn't really seem upset at all. Nalase and Tech. Kind of intertwined here when it comes to the batch, because so heavily tech advanced and developed that we need someone like our tech expert to be able to deal with a lot of the problems that has been going on with the Empire. And we just don't have that anymore. No matter if they bring him back or not, I don't think it's going to be the same tech, and I think that we're not actually going to see the full capabilities of what it was. We might have to run around on a few random missions in order to fill the gap that tech's loss has created. No one can really fill the shoes. Everyone just has to work a little harder to get over that step. Maybe Omega is going to do better. Maybe Omega is going to shape out to be someone that's similar in stature as Tech. But even then, we're just nowhere near. So they need to be able to go, well, they need to be able to access an Imperial terminal in order to basically download the information off there, hoping that you have the coordinates, Tantus, the clones that are on there, how many people they need to rescue, how heavily fortified it is. Now, as the audience, We know all this. We've known all this since previous seasons. And I like that they're only just now figuring it out. It's not like, oh, it's just a big task and we've got to really prepare for it. And you have like a training montage, like a Rocky Balboa, hit him with the left. Like they're kind of working out and they're like, yeah, we're getting strong and we're going to take down the Empire when we're strong enough. No. I like that. I like that they're only figuring it out now. And when they do figure it out, they're pumped. They're like, yep, taking these bitches down. Now, another thing that I'd like to put in here that I wrote down is all of them remembering Tech. It's important that Tech stays dead. Tech can't come back. The emotional importance and the weight that his death has put on the batch has skewed their minds and changed decisions for upcoming conflicts as well as risk-taking. We haven't seen the same batch since Tech's death. Someone who in previous seasons seemed like he wasn't as important has shaped out to be the straw on the camel's back. Once he was gone, the batch just crumbles. He needs to stay dead, or otherwise none of this means anything. If they end it and he's truly gone, this will hands down be one of the best seasons that Disney has ever produced. Absolutely. Hand on my heart. Then Hunter kind of makes a little call. He goes back to the old, oh, we're going to split up. Rah, rah, rah. Because we can't do this and this and this. Omega's got to be safe. Wrecker, stay back with Omega. Now, if it's just me, I don't know, and I don't really care. Omega is a badass now. She's a badass. She's like, hey, excuse me. We just got back together. I'm not leaving you. Yeah, there's a risk of me dying, but there's a risk of you dying as well. I'd rather go out with you guys. Makes sense to me. And Omega asserted herself. I'm going to go into some theories about that later as well, and about her character specifically. So stick around to the end and we'll talk about it in the theory segment. Theory segment! Anyways. One big point that I have made over the past 3 episodes now has been the Clone Rebellion. I'm a huge believer in this Clone Rebellion. I think this might be one of my favorite times in Star Wars if they handle it well. We might get clone commandos rebelling. We might just get everyday average clones. I think, personally, it's going to be like Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. You get him running in there and they go, oh God, there's a whole mine full of kids. We've got to get them out. Same with the clones. They break into Tantus. They go, oh, there's a lot more clones than what I think there was going to be. We've got to get them out. And you kind of get that scene like in Temple of Doom when they're running around and you see the opening and just thousands of kids come running out of this hole. And you're like, whoa, what the? And it's like all these kids and you see Indy there and he's got his hat off and he's just like, I did it. I did it. That is badass. And I hope we get to see something like that. Kind of, maybe we'll even see shrivel up clones like Echo was. Either way, I just want to see everyone make it out of there. Not the whole base exploding. I think it'd be really cool if they turn Mount Tantus into a safe spot for the clones. Maybe they just completely overtook it. But this rebellion's going to be mental. It's going to be wild. We are going to talk about this for years and years and years to come. This is going to be the next Order 66. I'm calling it now. The Great Clone Rebellion. Anyways. Then we go into seeing Crosshair and Omega and their relationship. Now, these guys seem a lot more trusting than I've seen any other relationship. Obviously, like what we were saying before, Wrecker was like, oh yeah, if he trusts him, then I do. But it's not truly like, hey, I back your skills. Because it should be like, don't worry, kid, I'll take it. Whereas Crosshair is kind of like, hey, look, she broke me out of prison. Yeah, I saved her with the stormtroopers. But she broke me out of prison. Game respects game. Just like Mortis FM commented on my reel. Game respects game. Yeah. He knows she's a badass. She tamed a lurker. She broke out of one of the highest security places in the Empire. She freed prisoners. Or even just a prisoner. And now she jettisoned off to another planet, contacted the other clones, and got them safe at home. Come on. How do you get better than that? How do you get better than that? I love that these two, who were opposites the whole time, grumpy and happy, yin and yang, just constantly circling around each other. Hunter and Omega is an important relationship, but I really think that Crosshair and Omega is really where the gold lies. It's where we find the true meaning of friendship and partnership. Omega kind of also said a really funny quote, just briefly, how she's the older sister. I love that she's bringing that in. She's got so much sass. So much sass. She's so cool. Like, unbelievably cool. Now, if you've seen the end of the previous episode, you would have seen my theories, and I put in towards the end what I think's going to happen in the next episode. Not even just in the next episodes, but specifically the next episode. And I called it that Crosshair is getting armored up with an old suit. And if you don't believe me, go check out my previous episode on Balor on Mandalore. Episode 4 breakdown. It was pretty cool. But yeah, we have the old armor. I fucking fist bump straight away. I love red and black as a combo. Every time I love red and black, or white and red. Red is the coolest color. And when I saw the Bad Batch the first time, I was like, oh my god, these guys are so sick. I'm a Coruscant Guard guy myself, if I was talking about clone factions. But oh my god, I love the black and red. I love the black and red. And having it back was just, I like their new armor. It shows how they've moved on. It shows how they're changing. They're different now. They're not the same kind of clones that we're used to. The Empire has taken over. We're not getting the Grand Republic, where it's clone armor, bunch of it, repairs, heaps of money into it. No, they're fucking off the clones. And they're getting rid of all of their armor. We saw it at the start, really, with Mayday. They made modifications. The Bad Batch made modifications to their armor, but Mayday at the end, when he had the bandages taped onto his helmet, like, they can't afford to give him a new helmet, and he's the leader of this outpost. Tells a lot. But we get to see his armor, and I am loving it. I'm frothing this armor. It is the coolest ever. I love this armor. Anyways, so we go back to part 4. I did remember it right. Yes. My memory's pretty poo-poo. But I remembered that one, so chuck us a like and a subscribe. Anyways, so they go back to Barton 4, and you see in the opening shot, it's all snowed over. Imperial reign on that planet has ended. Thank God. But it doesn't bode well for the batch, because they realize, well, look, maybe what we're looking for is not going to be here. And I kind of like, when I saw that opening shot, and I was like, you know what? What if they find like the Empire? Yeah, sure, the Empire's given up on it, and the Empire's given up on the clones. But what if there's a few there? What if there's a few? And I don't know why. I was just holding out hope. I was just like, maybe it's just my sheer love for the clones. Sheer love for the clones. To kind of hold me into that idea. But I was just the whole time going, please get a signal. Because they're like, no, there's no heat sensory. There is no signal. There's no comms. Nothing. No channels are open. We're not getting anything. And I was like, please, just find something. Like, just the remnants of a final clone, and he's on his last legs, but then they resurrect him with, you know, like, whatever they can do. Anyways, I mean, that was diminished pretty much fucking straight away. They were just like, yep, nah, nothing, have a good one. I was like, no. Anyways. So in Season 2, when we see Crosshair, I can't remember the episode exactly and the name of it, but we see Crosshair and he goes on to Barton 4 for the first time. It's where he meets Mayday. It's where he kills the Imperial officer, and he's kind of going down his path. We see that the Ice Vulture has been the symbol for Crosshair's change. Not necessarily in a good or a bad way, but it's character development. And the very first thing we see, Ice Vulture. The directors of this show have done so incredibly well to actually revise what happened. They're looking at previous source material. I am so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for everything that they've been researching. They've been, and they have been researching. Even for the Sarge return. It makes sense. You just got to give them a bit. However, I am loving this background research. Keep it up. You're incredible. You're not going to see this, but thank you. Thank you. Anyways, so we get into seeing Crosshair for the first time in his armor sets. Now, when they're kind of coming in the armor sets, Crosshair walking down the kind of bridge, walkway, whatever you want to call it, that comes down the Marauder. And Hunter is already off. Hunter's already off, and he's looking up at Crosshair. And it's kind of like, if you ever played Street Fighter, they're like, meh, and then meh, and they're looking side to side at each other. It's kind of the vibes I was getting, but they kind of looked at each other, and then if you paused it right there, and I did, I paused it right there, you could just see the contrast between the two, purely because of armor sets. Now, not to say that Crosshair hasn't gone through a lot. Crosshair's gone through a massive amount of trauma and pain. True to his story, but when it comes to the batch, he's picking up where he left off, which is a long, long time ago. They've changed. They've grown. They've molded to this new life. They've had to become someone who is not too different to what they were before, but they're not the same. And that's instantly what you see when he's standing there in the perfectly pristine armor set. The Wrecker made such a beautiful comment being like, I just couldn't throw it away. And you're like, through everything, they loved this guy. Crosshair may not have been right, but he wasn't really wrong. He was just doing what he thought was right. And how can you blame him? And I like, it gives you that little bit of extra love where you go, he's trying. He's really trying again. He doesn't want to screw this up. He wants to be back with the batch. He wants to be back with his brothers. He made a mistake. Now, was it a mistake to go to the Empire? Was it not? Doesn't matter. He made a mistake of losing them. But they also made that same mistake. I'll go into that in a bit. But just to see the two, Hunter is so worn and so troubled, and his armor is such a reflection of that. Whereas Crosshair, although worn, although troubled, his armor is brand spanking new. It's shiny. He's picking up where he left off previously, and it's just not the same as these guys. I don't know if they're going to change it throughout the rest of the season. I hope they don't, because I love that contrast between the two. I don't like the helmet. I like the Imperial version of his helmet more. But it's a cool outfit. But they make some very, very strong arguments towards each other right after that scene. Now, Hunter kind of brings up like, what are those sensors for? And he's like, for the Raiders. Didn't think you would tell me that. And then they kind of just back off. And he just goes, I was just like, they've been taken care of. And Hunter's like, what? Were you just following orders? Now, what he's kind of pulling from that was that's exactly what the clones had to do in Order 66. Good soldiers follow orders. Now, you don't see that in the live movies. You don't see it in the movies, but you see it in the animated. It's like good soldiers follow orders. I'm really liking how they're doing this contrast, because then it goes right into Crosshair kind of giving him a little bit of shit. It's like, hey, you left me. I may have left you guys, but I gave you the chance to be with me. I gave you the chance to follow me. I helped you. I wanted to be with you guys as well. You didn't do anything for me. And it just makes you sit back and you just go, I don't know who's right and who's wrong. Is Crosshair right? Kinda. Is Hunter right? In regards to how bad the Empire is, sure. Of course, Hunter's right for that. But he's not... I really don't think he's all that right. Anyways, it was kind of cool that they're just like... even in that, they show the difference between how they were affected by the inhibited chip. Crosshair, who removed his inhibited chip, but he stayed with the Empire, following orders, doing heinous crimes, killing hundreds of people as a death trooper. Horrible, horrible actions. Not justified, but he was pushed in a very bad direction by the batch, I believe anyway. All right, let's go on to the next little bit. What I liked as well was Omega when Hunter was like, meh, and leaves, and Crosshair's like, meh. And Omega goes, look, I told you. Be friends. Talk with him. Don't argue with him. Omega is becoming the link between everyone in the batch. She is the most important character in the TV show right now. Hunter can't control himself. Towards the end of the episode, he's doing it more. But he can't control himself. Crosshair can't control himself. So what the fuck are we going to do? Well, Omega steps in as, I believe, the true leader of the batch. Hunter's got the instincts, sure. Hunter's been leading, sure. But I feel like Hunter's the head and Omega's the neck. The head may say everything and think everything and act with that, but the neck turns the head in the direction that it wants to go. Omega may not outright have all of the command of the group, but I do truly believe that she's a leader. And she is their leader, hopefully to stay. Or are we going to lose? I'm not going to get into that. Anyways, we get into the outpost. And, I mean, the rest of this episode has just been hard-hitting quotes. I put here, the outpost has served its purpose, in the words of Crosshair. Just like they talked about the clones in Season 2. In Season 2, they were just saying, basically, like, look, and this is the Imperial officer on the same planet, on Barton 4, just goes, look, the clones have served their purpose. We're going on with a new wave of soldier. We need people who don't just act and don't just follow orders, that can think. Palpatine's a genius for saying all that kind of stuff. But, you know, Echo made a little... heard that. True, but I like that they're kind of bringing it to us going, yeah, these guys are alone. Really alone. They're struggling. They don't know what they're doing or where they're going. I mean, they were genetically bred for war. Where's the war other than at their home and in their head? It must be hard. So, Crosshair splits off, obviously feeling a bit emotional after that statement. He goes out back and he sees a pile of clone Phase 2 helmets. Now, these helmets belong to his brothers that served at that outpost. One of them being his friend, close confidant, Mayday. Mayday was the reason why Crosshair turned in the first place. He showed him, hey, look, you can do everything you can for the Empire. He's a great soldier. Even better leader. You can do everything you can for the Empire. And they're still not even going to give you armor replacements. All that time on that planet, they were just guarding. All of these clones were guarding with their lives, dying to just hold stormtrooper armor. Imagine your whole life, that's all you've known is war. And they don't want you for it anymore. They don't need you because you're too good of a soldier. that you will blindly listen and blindly follow. It's hard, hits home, especially when you see him rearranging the helmets, not necessarily as a tribute, but just to say, look, I respect you. I'm not going to let your helmet be thrown on the ground. And Hunter sees it. Hunter's watching him from the back. He's just going... You can kind of see in his head. And this is kudos to the bloody animation team. Incredible. You could see every part of his face that just shows... maybe he's not the worst guy. Maybe he really has changed. Kind of followed by Hunter in the end. Just not trusting. Basically, the batch, they were like, oh, look, we've got to put this perimeter up because there's a worm there. Let's go out. Let's go deal with it. Well, he didn't do that yet, but later on, he went there. And he just goes, oh, let's go out there. They start confronting each other. And he's like, look, we've got to go set up this perimeter, and we've got to go check for any raiders or anything. It was just an excuse for Crosshair to get a little bit of air. And Hunter goes, you know what? This is not going to be airtime. This is going to be you answering some fucking questions, bitch. Beep, 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 beep. That's me swearing all the time. As they cut outside, what's above him? Said it before, Ice Vulture. This is about to be a moment of change. Like a phoenix out of the ashes. Or like an ice vulture out of an ice cube. Kind of the same thing. Not as epic. We see an ice vulture. So, something's about to happen. Hunter confronts Crosshair specifically about how he thinks he can't just let him back in without proving himself. Without answering a few questions like, hey dude, why'd you turn? Why are you back now after you've turned? I don't know if I want you here. I don't know if I need you here. And Crosshair puts it back on him. I betrayed the Empire, sure. But just like they did to these clones here on this base, they left. Like you guys left me. You left me alone. Maybe I was working for the Empire, but it was just me in that Empire. Where were my so-called brothers? He put out a distress beacon, and he talks about this. He put out a distress beacon that took all of his energy, all of his might, everything that he had. He put his life on the line to send a message out. And they just ignored it. Well, they tried to go in. They tried to find information about where it was. And they lost tech. So they went, gone. They left him. Left him to die. Left him to rot. They didn't care. They can say they cared, but they didn't act like it. It's not the same anymore. So he puts it back on him. And I'm with Crosshair on this one. And I think Hunter kind of realizes it. And I love that you see his hand kind of over-exaggerated when it's like shaking and clenched fist. But it's a different kind of clenched fist to Hunter's one. Hunter's just angry. He's like, clenches his fist. Whereas Crosshair's like, I need to control the bad aspects of me. It's not like I'm going to punch you in the face fist. It's a stop my weakness. I need to be strong. Personally, I'd give these animators a big old smooch on the lips if they gave me an opportunity to. Incredible work. I'll never get over it. Anyways, so he pushed Hunter he pushed Hunter in that one, and he pushed him basically just to go, look, Hunter, you're a leader. I get it. But if it wasn't for you and your actions, Omega wouldn't have been put in the situation that she was in. Omega wouldn't have been taken away. Omega wouldn't have been made to work as a slave, really, for half a year. And it's down to Hunter. It's his fault. And you see his reactions very similar to the second episode when they're talking about when they're talking with the clones, and you see Hunter all upset, and when he's by the terminal and he's so upset and he's just looking down, and he kind of looks across and he sees Tech's glasses, and then he sees Wrecker laughing with the crew. Wrecker's fine. It's not the same, but he's fine. He's fine with these guys, but Hunter's not. You can feel the weight of all of the pressure sitting on him, purely by his eyes. And this really puts that pressure back on him. Maybe he kind of forgot about it now that Omega's back, but he has to remember, he was kind of the reason. There's no way it would have happened if they all just stuck together. Everyone's got to change. Maybe the Ice Vulture isn't necessarily just for Crosshair, but it could be for everyone. It is a symbol of change, a symbol of we are about to get some character development. Anyways, so Hunter and Crosshair get caught up with the worm. Comes up. They go, oh, get out of the way, run, run, run. Chase after it a little bit, and Hunter falls down into the pit. Now they need to go reset the grid to get rid of this monster. They just realize why they needed to keep that grid up, because that worm is terrifyingly dangerous. Couldn't break through a metal door, but it's terrifyingly dangerous. So Wrecker instantly right back to the old one. Oh, we need to go fix the breaker. I'll do it. He's back to the old straight away, bang in. He's going to be the guy. And I'm loving it. Wrecker, I think he was cautious. I mean, obviously, he was cautious. He had to be. He had to be cautious because he's lost all of his friends. But all of his friends but one are back. He can have a little more fun. And he wants to do what he wants to do. And I love that impulsive big dude. He's just running around, having a good time, just doing stuff because he wants to. And that Wrecker is the Wrecker that I love, that makes me put it right at the top. But Crosshair's creeping up. So Hunter and Crosshair, they split paths. But the irony of that is they're going together. One's at the bottom, one's at the top, making their way across. Crosshair makes a gap. Hunter runs up to the gap, looks up to get out. And then that's how they're going to get out. Not by Crosshair running around to a different spot and distracting or anything. Now, he tried to distract, but his aim is just terrible. I've never seen more of a stormtrooper-looking clone than Crosshair. And that says something because his whole identity is gone. He is not who he truly is. So imagine the pain that he must be having. I don't think the batch should forget about that. Anyways, by them working together and all of the batch putting in the same kind of effort, like usual, they make it. Of course they're going to make it. But they couldn't get all of the information. All they got was really the amount of clones. It got some information about what they were doing, but they couldn't find location. Now, armed with all of Omega and Crosshair's conversations, they're at a pretty good step up But this episode was super useful to gain even more knowledge on Mount Tantus to be able to return. Wrapping up the episode, we see Crosshair and Hunter kind of stop before they go into the ship. Similar to what they were doing before when they went out onto the ice field. But they stop before the ship. And Crosshair just kind of looks down. And he looks away and he goes, I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes and I'm accepting those mistakes. I screwed up. And Hunter kind of... You expect Hunter to be the same as what he was just before. Yeah, I know you made mistakes. But he was very sympathetic. He was very different. Hunter admitted. As I said before, Crosshair was right. Hunter made mistakes because Hunter left him behind. Hunter was the reason why Omega was captured. Is it upsetting? Yeah. Are they going to do anything about it? I bloody well hope so. Fix these two. Make them best friends again. Full stop. I just can't get over the way that they've introduced Crosshair again. I thought he was never going to come back. But they've brought him perfectly. But it only works if Tech is dead. And another thing, final two on the episode, was the talk about hope. Now, hope has been a huge thing in Star Wars. Everyone talks about hope, as much as the Force. May the Force be with you. Well, we all have hope. I guess it's because a new hope. Sure, I get that. But is it really? Do they have hope? Are things going to crash down on them? I think 9 times out of 10, yeah. These guys are going to crash and burn. And they are surviving on only hope. And I don't think it's going to take them that far. So we'll see what happens in the next episodes. With the final shot of the Ice Vulture sailing away. That's all the change Crosshair needs. That is all the character development the Crosshair needs in order to set the scene for what I think is going to be his death. They've built up Crosshair just the same as Tech. But a little differently in the way that they've shown him on both sides. He can be good, he can be evil, but he chooses good. He chooses the right thing. And that Ice Vulture is that symbol. And with it soaring away, it's done its work. Crosshair has done his work. He's better now. He's hopefully going to be a part of the batch fully. Okay. Shklabonka. Let's go back into fans' reactions of the episode. Now, first of all, that was so much fun. If you guys like seeing those kind of discussions, let me know in the comments, because I really enjoyed breaking a lot of that down and kind of working through the dialogue and seeing the actions and the specifics of why they did that. That was a lot of fun. So let me know. Anyway, so we have the fans' reactions. Now, for the fans' reactions, obviously the episode came out very recently, but there's been a lot of proactive Star Wars people out there. Although I may be filming pretty much right after it, I haven't posted a video out. You've got a lot of fantastic creators all over the world putting out some of the best content, and I've been lucky enough to be able to scour the internet and find some really cool videos and also some articles about it. Basically, 3 things. Animation, same as me, 10 out of 10. Everyone loved it. A lot of people were begging for this animation to not stop. Maybe they could even turn it into another thing. Like they could make another kids show instead of that new stupid kid show that they were doing set in the Old Republic. I mean, I haven't watched it. I'm not going to watch it. It's literally a kid's. I'll watch it. I know I will. I'm a sucker for Star Wars content. But animation 10 out of 10. I hope they can add that into something else. And that's what all the fans were saying. Best Star Wars season of Disney. Everyone has to add in the Disney part at the end. Like it means something horrible. Like, oh yeah, clap, clap. These guys did so well. They've made some incredible movies. Now, maybe not your favorite. Cinematic. Just gorgeous to look at. Some great content. But I do kind of agree, if this continues the same way, this might actually be the best season of any TV show that Disney has put out. Possibly Star Wars. I'm going to get rid of the Disney part. Star Wars. I agree with the fans on this one. I'm not even kidding, I saw about like 10 comments on that. And unlimited comments on the animation. Everyone's loving it. But then you get the final comment from fans. It's a filler. It's a filler. Shut up. Shut up, bro. No, it's not. There's no fillers. There's never been a filler. There has just been character development through fun arcs, fun times, but you pick up a lot of how the character reacts to their environment around them. So they put in a filler. It's not a filler. This one was so incredibly in-depth and important for Crosshair and Hunter's relationship, let alone the connection of the batch. I feel like next episode they're coming in and they're bloody strong. Bloody strong. So, we go into the next segment of theories for next episodes. Now, my theory for the previous episode, for this episode, but I said previous, was that Crosshair gets suited up. Are we going to see Omega get suited up in the next one? She's the only one really without a suit. The only one without anything there. Get Omega suited up. I know we see the E3 blaster type crossbow in the cover photo of the season. So are we going to see something maybe with a little more armor? You can't go into war and just have a t-shirt. Even though she's a kid, she's not going to Princess Leia run out of there. I'm talking about, seriously, get this girl some armor and make it sick. Next theory. Crosshair regains more control over Hand from AZ. Now, AZ, the droid, as I was saying before, I think he's gonna pump a little bit of, I don't know, medicine into Crosshair's hand, and I think he might be able to help the tremors. I don't think he's going to get rid of it completely, but I do think in the next episode or next 2 episodes, because it's going to be a 2-part. It's going to be a 2-parter. We're going to see them kind of get him back to at least 80%, 80, 90%, which is, oh my God, so much better than 53%. Ugh. That was horrible. Then I have kind of like a 2-part theory. Say goodbye to Echo in the next episode. Or say hello to Rex. Are we going to get Rex in? Are we going to finally see him back? Who knows? Who knows? I personally want him in ASAP. I want to bring back all the guys. I want to see how it gets to the point where they are in Rebels. You've got Rex, Wolf, and Gregor. What's going to happen? Echo's not there. I think I really do think the Batches are going to die. All of them, but Omega. But either way, are we going to see them earlier because they've got a lot of information? Or is Echo just going to jettison off and be like, call me when you're ready? And then they're just like, oh yeah, we're here. Kind of like a Tross, you know, when they're like, what's that? It's just people. And then it's got all these people coming in. That was an incredible scene. Cried like a baby. Cried like a baby. Anyways. And then the last theory. Bait and switch for Tech and Hunter. Now, I'm not a big fan of this, but I thought about it while I was watching. This is so setting up for Tech to come back. I don't want it. I don't want Tech to come back. It's going to ruin everything. I think it's going to ruin all of the emotional development that they have built through this whole season. And Hunter? I mean, I've got a figurine of Hunter. I love Hunter. He's so cool. I don't want to switch any of them, but I think that's a strong possibility. I think we might find that Super Soldier is probably Tech, and Hunter's going to die so that Tech can come back. Because Hunter feels the weight and the burden of being the leader. He might sacrifice himself to be like, look, Captain's got to go down with this ship. Guys, get out of there. Be safe. That's going to pull on the heartstrings. Oh my God, am I going to sob. So I put out a question earlier today. Now, I did do this really late, so I am not expecting a lot of questions, but I'm opening it up as we speak. So I haven't seen any of them. We will see. Okay. Here we have from Tia Galanos. You're still cute. Give me your real number. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, but I have a girlfriend and I am so in love with her. I can't even think about anyone as much of a loser as you. I'll give you my real number. It's 911. Okay, you can call it. Don't worry, we're in Australia. It's not the same as the American one, I promise. But you better call the cops on yourself, because you're a freak. You're a freak, mate. And if you keep on commenting all this stuff, I'm going to ban you. I'm going to ban you from the channel. But you're kind of cute as well. And then we have the final question from Jeremy Blore. I don't know about you. That's a pretty lovely name. I don't know. I might keep that name. Maybe. I don't know. How do you rizz up the camera so well? What a silly duffer. What a silly duffer, this guy. This guy. Silly duffer, Jeremy. I don't rizz up the camera. I am the Riz. Check this. Yeah, clean up on aisle 3. I knew that one. That was pretty juicy. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Don't get too excited. If you got rizzed up, please comment down below that you are suffering from falling in love. Especially if you're Tia Galanos. Anyways, I've got some questions for the audience. So with these ones, answer it in the comment section. Send me a private message. Either way, whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't want to put your thing out publicly, that's perfectly fine. Send me a private message and I will answer it privately. Thoughts on the animation? Are you with me on this one? I think that was the coolest, especially that snowflake scene with Hunter that I mentioned before. Incredible. Next, would you change anything in Crosshair's arc? Now, Crosshair's had a pretty phenomenal arc. He's kind of become one of everyone's favorites, really. Would you change anything on it? Would you maybe drop him out of the Empire a little earlier? Would you make him defect in a different way? How would you do it? Let me know in the comments. Personally, I wouldn't change too much. Only thing I'd do is I'd make it more vicious. His swap over from the Empire. Like, I don't think one Imperial officer was enough for someone of his caliber. I feel like if he took out a whole squad, you know, if he really went full Crosshair, like, and then just like ding 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 ding, and then knocked out like bloody 10 people. I think that's the only thing that I would change. Just make it more significant for his change instead of just one Imperial officer. Even though that guy was a douche. God, I hated that guy. Hated him. Anyways, will Omega be the final Ronin of Bad Batch? I was so excited to ask this question. If you are a fan of Ninja Turtles, you'll know that all of them but Michelangelo die. Then he becomes the final Ronin. He basically takes on every single aspect of them and their skills, and he turns it into one, and he becomes just this happy-go-lucky guy, like Omega, happy-go-lucky guy, turned into a warrior beast. I think that'd be really cool to see someone. Maybe she won't have the same strength as Wrecker, but she'll have Crosshair's ability. They're getting closer. Because Crosshair was also trying to teach her how to be a sniper. It's understanding your surroundings and knowing that people are watching you, a.k.a. Hunter and Wrecker are behind me watching me, aren't they? Like eyes in the back of your head, Hunter's senses, Tech's just like technological knowledge, Echo's tenacity. I just... And maybe Gonk's power. Gonky. Gonk supremacy over here. Up the Gonks. We love the Gonks. Yeah, I'd love to see her kind of absorb all of the roles of the batch and just turn it into one. And then she's maybe not an assassin, but she is someone that can help change the tide of war. Maybe we see her on Tanalorr. Tanalorr is basically the Jedi Exegol. It's that Cal Kestis found it. Super hidden, super secret, super hard to get to. It's got a big Jedi temple there. It'd be really, really cool. It would be really, really cool. Anyways, and then the final question, favorite character of this season so far. Is that the final question? Yeah, it is. Yeah, the favorite character of this season so far. Let me know. Still, at the moment, my one's Wrecker. I love him so much. But Crosshair is like one episode away from being my favorite. They are like Wrecker and Crosshair are basically... Wait, one sec. Basically like Wrecker, Crosshair. They're so close. They're so close. So I'm keen to see it. I'm keen to see what you guys think. Please let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see something, if you want me to talk about something specifically, let me know below. If you liked this content, please like, subscribe, comment that you want more. I am going to be there for you guys. I will answer every single comment. I will do as much as I can. Follow me on Instagram as well if you want to get some updates of everything and how it's going. I'm going to have a couple more videos coming out soon. I'm also thinking about doing more shortwave content. So let me know if you want like a couple of small videos slightly explaining some things or like slightly diving into Empire had an article with Hayden Christensen, also Samuel Jackson, and I'd love to go into all of that kind of stuff as well. I talk a lot about the episode on there, so maybe I could even shorten the episode and talk about the Empire magazine. Either way, whatever you guys want to see, let me know. I'd love to see it. But I think that's going to be it for today. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Fantastic episode. Love talking about with you guys. There's been some really, really cool ideas that they're bringing in here. But the number one thing that I loved was that Ice Vulture. Ice Vulture in the changeover, it's making Crosshair become someone not better, but different. And on that note, I'm Jeremy Blore, and this has been Blore on Mandalore. Let's go! All right, that's kind of sick.